So it's 2025. That feels weird to say. Lockdown was 5 years ago. Damn. Despite all that lost time, I hope that everybody has had a great Christmas and a happy New Year's, even though that this video will probably come out way after New Year's. I'm slow making videos, okay? I hope that 2024 has been a good year for everybody watching, but for me, it was missing one thing. I haven't really learnt much in the way of game development last year. In 2023, I went from knowing nothing to all the knowledge I have now. But last year's been a tad bit dry when it comes to new things I've learned or projects I've worked on. So this year, I want to start off with learning a new skill, Blender. Why Blender? Well, I've been wanting to get into it for years now. I've tried and failed over and over. Last year? I'm writing this in 2024 and voicing it in 2025. So this is getting confusing. Anyway, last year, I started to get into Blender since I was learning it as part of my college coursework. But unlike how I did with Unity, I haven't really been practicing in my spare time, so my skills are kind of lacking. So I thought Blender would make a perfect topic for a video, and it will give me the opportunity to practice my skills at home. With that out the way, it's time for the game plan. How will I learn? Well, if you watch my video on learning game dev, you'd know not to get stuck in tutorial hell, and to give everything a go at least once. So I'll be doing just that. First, I'll try and make a project all on my own without any help, and we'll see how that goes. This way I can assess the skills I currently have and the knowledge I need to collect. Once I finish this, I'll find a good tutorial series to pick up on the basics, and after following that tutorial, I'll follow up with a skill check. And I'll try to make something myself with help from the internet as a way to track my progress. Then hopefully we'll have something that I'm happy with. Right. So let's jump straight into me using Blender with minimal knowledge, and let's see how this train wreck goes down, shall we? I've used Blender before. I've done a few classes in college, so I know a little bit, but I can't really make anything good. But I think I want to start by making a car. I think making a car will be a good way to learn. So I'm gonna try and make like a low poly car, and I'm gonna start by getting some references. Damn, did pass me talk slow. But anyway, as I was saying, I started off by just adding some references onto the scene. So I just went on Google and searched up a low poly car and started adding that to the scene. As you can see, it does take me a while messing around with the menus before I figure out how to add an image onto the scene, but I get there eventually. After playing around a bit with the camera, I try again and get it in the right perspective this time, and I finally get there eventually, and I start modeling my car. Right, so once I had the reference image into the scene, it was time to make the basic shape of the car. So I started by just making the cube rectangle thing smaller, so it had more or less the similar shape that the reference image had. Then I just extruded the top face into one square on the left side, and then leaving the right side as is, kind of forming kind of like a ladder or stair. I can't speak or think. Kind of forming like a stair shape. Then I made it smaller because I can see in the reference image that it kind of like goes in on the top. And that was basically it. That was the car shape. Then all I had to do was just insert the faces and extrude them inwards, and I had windows. If I'm going to be honest, it was a lot easier than I thought it was going to be for some reason, but hey, no complaints there. So after getting the top half done, it was time to work on the bottom half. Specifically, I wanted to create the silver rim you can see around the body of the car in the image, and add some detailing around the body. So to do this, I just loop cutted the bottom half of the car around the height of that little silver bar. Then I extruded it, and then once I extruded it, I scaled it out a bit so it kind of protruded from the car, and then wrapped it around so I was kind of like, you know, grabbing onto the car, whatever you call it. Then I did the lights, and to do that I subdivided the back surface. Then I selected the squares I wanted to be the lights and extruded them. And well, that's basically it. It was a bit finicky to get going, but it got me where I wanted it to, kinda. Okay, so with that done, the very, very basic bodywork done, I tried to make mirrors, but after giving it a go, I went, nope, I am not ready for this yet. So I immediately noped out of that and decided to paint the car. So to do that, all I did was use the material editor to select the red I wanted. Then I selected a blue for the windows and a yellow for the headlights. I think it turned out all right. If it had wheels and I saw it in like a little crappy mobile game, I don't think I'd question it too much. However, it is not good whatsoever, and it was probably designed using the worst design techniques you could think of, and any person who's ever actually used Blender is probably crying at the thought of this car existing. But I don't care. I made it. I'm happy with it. If you don't like it, go away. But yeah, that's my car. And honestly, I think that went okay. Granted, it was very simple and I probably did a lot of things wrong or in a very inefficient way. I don't think I did that bad, all things considered. The same can't be said from when I tried to make a revolver earlier, but let's not talk about that. Anyway, I think it's time I watch some tutorials and try to improve my skills. Okay, so I've watched a lot of tutorials during the last couple of days, some more helpful than others. This video also happened to align perfectly with me doing some Blender lessons in college. So I ended up making this skateboard in lesson, and I think I actually did quite good on this. So I'm proud of it. But apart from this, I haven't really made much, which isn't great because that's basically the ingredients to fail and not learn anything at all. So now with at least 7 or more, God knows how many tutorials in my head, I think I'm gonna have a go at making an Xbox controller. Why Xbox? Honestly, I don't know. I just had one in front of me, so why not? It looks easy. I hope it's easy. And I did go into it thinking and feeling like it was easy, but this confidence did not last long. It was not easy. It was actually quite difficult since it has a lot of organic shapes, which I did not know how to make, and it just did not turn out okay. This is not what I thought it looked like. So why? Why did this happen? Well, I made a mistake. I was way too overconfident and jumped straight into making a complex organic shape. After all, I managed to do it for a skateboard, so why couldn't I do this? Well, the difference is I did a skateboard in a classroom where I could observe how to do it and ask for help when I needed it. So when it came to working on my own, it didn't go so well. So I'm going to dumb it down and I'm going to go back to the basics. Instead of trying to make complex organic shapes, I'm going to make a more stylized, low poly asset that will not only be easier to make, but will also be easier to optimize and implement into a game engine. So win-win. And hopefully I can actually get this done and not fail horrendously, because I kind of want something good to show off in this video, because I spent way too long procrastinating for this video. It is literally February 10th. I haven't uploaded since like October. No, maybe November. I don't even know anymore. I need to actually do this now. Goddamn. So I need something low poly. And to tie it all round, I think modeling another car will be perfect. But this time I'm going to try and actually model every detail instead of leaving it half made. Okay, so I started by just getting a reference image of a low poly car. I decided not to use a real car just because I thought it'd be harder on me. So once I got that reference image, I put it on the side of my frame so I could always have it. Then with that image, as you can see, I just basically started by making the basic shape of the car and just extruded what needed to be extruded to create small details around the vehicle, like the front bumper. I tried to not mess up the topology as much as I could, but as you can see, I still managed to break a few things. But I ended up getting it quite good, I'd say. Like the topology is not really broken, and as you can see, I'm using a lot of loop cuts instead of just going ham with the mesh, and I think it's working a lot better than it was last time. I do struggle a bit with the wheels, but I decided I'm gonna go for it and make wheels instead of like the other car. So I decided it'd be smart to add an actual cylinder and then use a Boolean tool to carve the mesh instead of trying to do it by hand. And as you can see, it worked wonders. And there we go, a little hole. I just clean up the mesh a little bit and then add some cylinders to work as tires. So since it's low poly, you can see that I kept the poly count low, but I still wanted to go into some detail. So I just basically extruded and inset what I needed to create the basic shape of a car, and of a wheel, if I can talk. And well, that was amazing. It like worked, and I felt so happy that it worked. I just used the mirror modifier to mirror the wheels on all 4 sides, and then went on to other details like headlights and mirrors. I decided using separate objects would again be smart instead of trying to do everything out of one mesh. And as you can see, it worked so much better. It was so much easier, so much better, and it allowed me to do so much more detail without having to destroy the mesh or worry about damaging the rest of the car. So I just faff on by just trying to get the shape more accurate to the reference image, and now we move on to texturing. Very simply, I just use the shading tab to color things in basic colors since it's low poly. Don't need to really worry much about textures, it's really just colors. And that was very quick and easy. Had a little bit of trouble selecting things, but I'm not going to complain. It's a very quick process. So after that, just going into more detail, adding some like red for the lights, and then setting up the camera. So just set up the camera, adding a floor and backdrop to create a nice looking render, adding some lights and like some purple to kind of like create that purple hue of the reference image. And then I added a light on front shining onto the car, so it looks like the headlights are on, and then I add some lights on the headlights themselves to make it look like they are like properly shining. Then I do the same for the back, even though it's not going to be very visible, it might still make it look more like visibly pleasing. And then some more lights out the back, and there we go. My first render. And well, I did it. It may not look that impressive, but it's a finished model. Could I do better? Almost definitely. Do I still have a long way to go? Yes. Yes, I do. But I did learn quite a lot while making this video. So then, how hard is it to learn Blender? Well, Blender has such a wide range of uses and so many tools that you will probably never learn the entirety of Blender, as there's just so much content you need to take in. But specializing in one thing, in my case hard surface modeling, can make the process a lot easier and a lot quicker to learn. All things considered, it's actually not that hard unless you're planning to model anything really complicated. If all you're interested in is making low poly assets for games, you probably can learn everything you really need to know in just a few months or even weeks. So I'm definitely going to be putting more time into Blender than I already have, and I'm going to try and improve my skills until I can make something that's actually good. But in the meantime, I'll see you in my next video, whenever that may be. See you next time.